So welcome everyone to today's interesting section. Welcome everyone to today's interesting section. Please let's start joining as we go live in today's interesting and wonderful section. Please along today's section, please if you have any question whatsoever, you are free to ask on the chat box in which justice is going to be done. Please you can actually just tell me where you're listening to me from so that we will go live together in the course of today's section. You can kindly tell me where you're connected to me from so that we will go live together as we move ahead in the course of today's interesting section. So welcome everyone. Welcome. Waiting for others to actually join us so that we can go live in today's interesting and wonderful section. So welcome everyone. Welcome everyone to today's interesting and wonderful section. So yeah, we notice the market. We are actually seeing what is currently going on in the Bitcoin market. You saw yesterday, you saw the market actually went down, came down up to this area here. You can see this line was actually drawn. The market actually came down up to this area, which was around 25,200 thereabouts. And right now, and it also still, and but if you check the wing actually came down up to 20 um the wing actually came down up to 25,100 thereabouts in the market. So all this now, I told you guys earlier that the month of September, the month of this September is always bearish when looking at the market movement, what is actually happening in the market, what are the various factors we need to consider when looking at the market, what is currently going on in the market, and all that. We notice that the market for this month is actually very, very bullish when looking at what do we need to take note of when looking at the market movement and all. So all this point now looking at from this area here, you can see the market movement from this area. You can see this area here. Let me bring this here. You can see what is actually happening here in the market. So we know this market here, I'm actually expecting the market to still come down up to 23 thereabout in the market for this month. This month himself, I'm actually still expecting the market to actually come up to this level here in the market. Let's see how that will actually play out as we keep moving ahead. So all this movement of the market, just know that one important factor that we need to know is that the market has actually been bearish. The market for the month of September is always very bearish, and that is what we're actually seeing actually playing out in the market. So even though we notice that okay, the market will slightly recover the market slightly recover a little bit. It came up again up to the 25,600 thereabout in the market. Let me bring it up in a let me just say that in a 1 hour time frame. Let me bring it up in a 1 hour time frame. You will notice that the market actually likely still came back up. It came back up to around, looking at the movement of the market here, now, what do we notice here? You can see how the market, you can see the movement of the market around this area here. You can see this move here. You can see what actually happened here. This move was actually what actually happened yesterday, and right now, and you can see the market range, and it came back up immediately. And this morning, this early hour of this morning, it actually in the middle of the night, it actually came back up to this area. It immediately recover what is actually losses in the market up to this area in the market, and now it's actually coming down again, trying to get a new positioning in the market. So all this, you can see the coming up, the coming down of the market and all that. And right now, we're just actually waiting for the news should be the ETF Bitcoin to actually be approved. Immediately the ETF Bitcoin is actually approved, we will actually see a very, very good push in the market and all that. So all these points are actually very, very important. All these points are actually very, very important that we need to take note of when looking at what is currently going on in the market. What are the various factors we need to consider when looking at the market? What are the various information we need to take note of when looking at the market itself? Hello, welcome. welcome. Thank you for joining us live in today's interesting section. Thank you for joining us live in today's interesting session. Please, if you're just joining us for the first time, you are welcome to today's interesting section. You can kindly just comment on the chat box to show to signify that you're online and ready to write on with today's interesting section as we move ahead. You can kindly just comment on the chat box as we move ahead in the course of today. So all these points here are actually important factors that we need to consider, that we need to take note of when looking at the market movement. What is the market really all about? How can we actually take control of the market? What are the different factors we need to consider when looking at the market's movement and what is currently going on in the market? And that is very, very important that we understand all those factors when looking at the market and all that. If you guys are actually following me, and you guys are actually getting what I'm actually dishing out to you guys in the course of today's interesting section. So please, if you have any question whatsoever, don't do you can do it by asking on the chat box in which justice is going to be done as we Justice is going to be done as we keep moving ahead in the course of today's interesting session. Please, if you have any question whatsoever, you can do it by asking on the chat box as we keep moving ahead in the course of today's interesting section. So, what point are we actually talking about when looking at the market movement? What point is actually very, very important that we need to actually take note of when looking at the market movement? What is going on in the market? How can we actually take control of the market and other? You can see the movement of the market around this area. You can see where the market has actually reached in this area here. You can see what is currently going on in the market and all that. Well, now looking at the news factor, looking at the trend of the market, looking at this move that just happened within yesterday. This move just happened within yesterday stroke this morning, and you can see how ridiculously the market actually recovered. And so is that not a sign that it's trying to tell us in the market? Now, what sign is do we need to take note of when looking at this market? And what sign do you notice that okay, this is what the market is actually trying to pass across? This is what the market is actually talking about when looking at the movement and all that. So all these points here are actually very, very important that we need to take note of when looking at the movement of the market, when looking at what the market is talking about. How can we actually take control of the market? What are the various factors we need to consider when looking at the market movement? And all those points here are actually very, very important that we need to actually take note of when looking at the market movement. And that is very, very important that we understand all those factors when looking at the market movement and all that. So, what other point that is actually very, very important that we need? What other point that is actually very, very important? What other point is actually very, very important that we need to take note of when looking at the market movement, when looking at what the market is saying, how can we actually go about the market? And now let's look at the news. Let's look at what is actually happening. Now you can see the Bitcoin. The Bitcoin price is actually printed kind of a bearish technical pattern. And it could actually drop now. Right now, the market could actually, it's likely going to still drop up to 25, up to hopefully 24,000 in the market. Now you can see where the market is. The market like quickly recovered. You can see the market actually quickly recovered the pattern of the market. You can see from this area here, you can see it from this movement here, you can see from this level here, you can see it actually recovered immediately. It came up, it came low here, you can see the movement, it came low here, which was around 24,000. It came low, which was around you can see the wing is around 24,900 and 9,005. I mean 905 and 50 and 51 thereabout. You can see the wing there, and right now it slightly recovered up to this area here, which is around 25. So it's still dancing around this area that we have here, which is around 25 thereabouts in the market. It's still walking around this area here in the market, because looking at this for example, you can see the market came here also, and it came here and it has actually been ranging up to this extent. You can see the movement of the market. Now again, we're actually seeing the same area again, similar to the same area again. Looking at the market from this area, it came down again. It came to this area here, and right now you can see the market has been ranging and other. So now we'll actually see some ranging in the market, and the market might likely still come down. I'm actually still expecting the market to still come down just about in the market, but there's not, because the reason why I'm actually expecting the market to actually come down, because we are yet to actually get a kind of a perfect view about the market. Because looking at the SEC, we're actually expecting, if the SEC is actually successfully, if the Bitcoin is actually if the Bitcoin ETF is actually successfully approved, then we'll actually see a significant push in the market. We'll actually see, and that is going to be around next Monday. I think the meeting is going to be around on the 16th of next month, if I'm not mistaken. That is where we're actually going to see a significant push in the market as we keep moving. Yeah, the market is, yeah, you are right, you are right. The market is fluctuating. The market is actually fluctuating. We are yet to actually have a very good positioning when looking at the market. The market is actually very fluctuating. It's moving up, coming down. There's no decision. There's not a fixed decision that is yet to be made in the market. And the reason why there is no we are yet to get a fixed decision on the market is because of next month is actually the approved. That is when we will hopefully we are actually going to get the approval of the Bitcoin ETF, and immediately we get the approval of Bitcoin ETF, we will see a massive move in the market. Immediately that approval is done, we'll actually see a significant push in the market. Immediately that approval is done, which is one important point that we need to actually take note of when looking at the market movement. What is the market really saying? How do we need to go about it? What are the different factors we need to actually take note of when looking at the market? And that is very, very important that we understand all these factors when talking about the market movement and all those points here, and also the September. Normally, the way, if you check from 2019, 2019, 2022, 2020, 2021, 2022, if you check all through, you will notice that the month of September has actually been bearish, and or that the month of September has actually been bearish, and all that. And even though looking at those one that actually want to put a kind of a huge amount of money into the market, and I think it said immediately Bitcoin ETF is actually approved. They're actually ready to put a lot of money into the market, which that investment putting of money into the market is one of the factors that is actually going to cause a kind of a bullish move in the market and all that. So if expect one thing is, I expect the market to actually pump immediately that approval is done. Immediately the ETF approval is done. I think it's going to be on the 16th of 16 of next month, 16th of October, which will actually cause tremendous move in the massive pumping into the market. Another decision investors would have, okay, this is now where the market is going, and also it will make way because there's a decision because of the halving coming on board. The Bitcoin market is actually going to make wave for what is actually coming on board in the month, what is actually expected to come on board when looking at the market in the ember month, in the sorry in for the halving for Jeraba, because the halving is actually gradually coming on board. So it actually needs to give kind of a good positioning for the halving of the market. So all these points are actually very, very important that we need to take note of when looking at the market. And also the trending, you can see the market now is actually, the market is actually trending below 26,000 in the market. You can see the market actually trading below 26,000 in the market, and when looking at it on the real sense and all that. Now if Bitcoin, now looking at the price, looking at the Bitcoin price key break, look at the Bitcoin price break and key support. Now the Bitcoin price failed to start recovery wave to extended its decline above 25,600 support, and Bitcoin price even Bitcoin even broken to 23,000 and 25,600 support and move into a bearish zone when looking at the market and all that. So now you can see the market, where the market is moving is actually a sign. Now, if I bring this up, let me bring this up so that we can see something here. Let me show you guys something. Please, if you are following me, please kindly type it on the chat box that you guys are following me. If you are enjoying today's section, please kindly type. You can see now, you can see this move on the market. You can see the move. It has actually superseded 50, and right now it's currently it came up to this area. it came up to this area which was around 64. It came up to 64 and all that. Right now it's down here up to this area. It's been around 58 thereabouts in the market and thereabouts. So you can see there is not a level of consistency in the market. There's not a level of accuracy in the market. Just imagine this push that we're noticing in the market right now. The market is actually coming down and it's likely going to still come down. It's actually going to still come. It's likely going to come down minor up to this area here in the market. So all these points are actually very, very important. It's very, very important that we understand all these factors when looking at the market. And okay, if I actually bring the relative strength index now, you can see the relative strength index of the market. You can see what is actually happening in the market and all that. You can see what is actually happening in the market and all that. You can see what is actually happening in the market and all that. Let me draw it back here. And to bring it close. So you can see the market movement. You can see the market movement around this area here. Now you can see this movement here. You can see what is actually happening here. You can see this line here. You can see it's just little. You just looking at this here area here. You can see even though the bearish market here, you can see a lot of decision. You can see this area here, decision is yet to be made. You can see here again decision is yet to be made. You can see the market moving down, pushing down, and all that. So you can see just this line here was the little push that actually happened the early hour of this morning. You can see this little push that actually happen in the market. And also all these areas here are actually important factor that we need to take note of when looking at the market movement. What is actually happening in the market? How can we actually take control of the market when looking at it? Is very, very important that we understand all those factors when looking at the market itself and other. So all these are actually important point that we need to understand. You can see this grayscale Bitcoin and trust now is actually going to kind of a share price it has gained, has made headline and order. So if this is actually approved, we're actually going to see a kind of a very good push in the market and order. So it is very, very important. Right now is the time that for us to actually look into the market and order. You can see for Bitcoin, you can see Ether, you can see Sol, we can see XRP. Actually, they actually risk. Yeah, actually, okay, we have this is actually one of the news that we have in which we'll actually check on it as we keep moving ahead in the course of today. So all these are actually important factor. All these are actually important factor that we need to take note of when looking at the market movement. What is actually happening um, yeah, escaping. Yeah, actually, yeah. Just imagine yesterday you actually escaped into the market if you are a day trader. Now, if you're a day trader yesterday into the market, I'm not actually a day trader. I'm more of a long time. I'm more of a kind of a sports trader. So if you're actually a day trader, or you can actually skip into the market and you actually make huge profit from the market yesterday. If you're a kind of a day trader that you can actually skip into the market there, because look, just imagine this move that we noticed in the market just yesterday and all that. So you can see that okay, if you're a day trader, you can that is okay. Maybe let me just say that is one of the advantage of being a day trader and all that. You will learn how to actually skip, how to actually do skipping into the market and all that. Thank you for that. So all these are actually important point that we need to actually look at, that we need to take note of when looking at the market. What is the market saying? What are the different factors we need to consider when looking at the market? And that is very, very important that we understand all these factors. All these factors are actually very, very important that we need to take note of when looking at the market movement. What is actually happening in the market? What are the various factors we need to consider when looking at the market movement? And all those points here are actually very, very important that we need to take note of, that we need to understand. We're looking at the market movement, what is actually happening in the market, what are the various factors we need to consider. We're looking at the market. And also let's go ahead, let's look at more news. Well, let's look at the news that we actually have in the market currently. What news, what is the trending news that we actually happen, that we actually have in the market currently? Let's go ahead and check on that. What is the news that we actually have in the market currently? Please, if you're following me, let's keep following me. If you have any question whatsoever, you're free to ask on the chat box, in which justice is going to be done as we keep moving ahead in the course of today's section. Now, you can see the first news that we have. You can see Bitcoin Ether so Ripple's risks deeper losses as FTX risks to sell 3.4 billion in crypto. You can see the markets here. You can see this is the first news that we have in the market. So let's read through. Let's see what the news is saying. You can see the cryptocurrency dump on Monday as investor, that was yesterday, as investor startled by the potential selling pressure that could soon emulate the from the now the float as digital asset exchange, that is FTX. Now Bitcoin, another major might take an even deeper hit in the near term if FTX receive regulatory approval to liquidate its 3.4 billion start in crypto assets to repay creditors and also lower volatility risks and others. So they're actually waiting. If they actually get approval, they want to liquidate 3.4 billion start in crypto assets to repay creditors and also lower volatility risks in the market. Now, crypto market, the FTS crypto dump. Now, the where the Delaware Bancroft Court officer as are on September 13 set to decide on allowing a 3.4 billion asset sale request to be submitted by the FTS legal team. Initially made in late August, the submission was staffed by Mike digital asset as an advisory to help with the sales. As per the proposal blank, the bankrupt crypto exchange could be permitted to liquidate maximum of 100 million worth of crypto each week. This limit could potentially be rising to 2 million of an individual token basic and thereabouts in the market. You can see, according to the recent talk, these are more news. We can also have it here. According to the recent court filing, roughly 2.6 billion in cash has been secured by FTX in addition to the 1.1 billion it held when it filed a Chapter 1 bankruptcy in November 2020. FTX also owed 3.4 billion in cryptocurrency. The company also owned 38 properties, which is estimated to value almost $222 million thereabouts in the market. Now that is the estimation price in the market. Now cryptocurrency poised as for major FTX full pullback and all that. Bitcoin suffered a 2.9% loss in September. That was yesterday. Briefly sink to around 20 to allow the 25,000 level in the market participate around the pounding potential possibility of ETF securing the approval. Now ETF, that is Ethereum, the second largest cryptocurrency in the market cap, trades by 4.6% plus 4.6% over the last 24 hours. Now, you can see it. Bitcoin actually went down up to that was yesterday before we saw the move that we actually noticed this morning in the market. But it actually suffered 2.9 percent loss in the market, and the Ethereum actually had 4.6% loss in the market, and also Ripple's also was the worst hit up by the sell off on Monday, and also actually has 5.4 in the market, when you can actually check on CoinDeco to actually get that view of the market. And also you can see, like, we have Solana also shared 3.8% of the value during the same time frame and tradable at 40, I mean 17.49 dollars thereabout at publication time when looking at the market movement and all that. Now it's worth mentioning that FTX owed nearly 1.2 billion worth of sold, that is Solana, at almost 16% of the outstanding supply. Now the filing showed that FTX at 3.4 billion cryptocurrency holding also owed $560 million in Bitcoin and also 192 million in Ether dollars in Ether. Once approval once approved, the pending sell-off could create a downward price pressure as fresh liquidity cryptocurrency flood the cryptocurrency market and all that. Now, some members in the crypto Twitter community expressed their concern about the idea that liquidator may soon unleash billions into the market and so could actually dump ADA and also FTX sell could back going reaching 14 soon in the up in the one, and that's actually one of the FTX one I mean one Twitter users one of their own option about the market. So all these are actually very important that we need to actually take note of when looking at the market. What are the news surrounding the market? What are the various news that we need to actually take note of when looking at the market and other. Okay, what the second news we have here, you can see the Bitcoin flash crash to new eight to new eight 2023 low 20,000 coming is 20,000 coming. Well, 20,000 I don't actually see 20,000 coming. I don't actually see 20,000 coming into the market for this month. Well, we might likely see 23,000. We might likely see maybe 22, but 20,000. Well, let's see there's nothing it can actually happen in the market. You can see the world biggest cryptocurrency value and also the free kick and of the market movement and or you can see the market action price and all that. Now you can see the daily charts in which we have 25,660. That was what we actually have in the market and all that. So all these are actually very important. You can see FTX unveiled 3.4 billion crypto holding and 1.16 billion dollars Solana and also 560 million Bitcoin and all that, in which they are trying to liquidate in the market and all that. So, and that liquidation might actually cause dump in the market as you keep looking at what is actually happening in the market and all that. You can see here now Bitcoin deep below 25,000 as former paper president hailed it as a universal internet currency when looking at it on the real sense. We also have in store for Terra Future and all that. Well, this is actually a potential project that I'm actually looking at. This is actually a potential project that I'm actually looking into actually invest in when looking at it on the real sense. You can say, okay, let's read more news that we actually have. You can say Terra Classic has taken a decisive action in bid to track the rising trend of a spam proposal flooding in blockchain. The project recently submitted a groundbreaking proposal aiming to alter some fundamental aspects of its ecosystem to migrate the essential spam proposal that has been plaguing it. The social classic community hopes that its move will restore order and efficiency to its blockchain when looking at it. So you can see they're actually trying to restore. We know that okay, they actually passed through some issues and then about but they're actually trying to actually restore it back into the ecosystem. So one of the most significant change proposed it's is a substantial increase in the maximum deposit required to submit for submitting proposal. Now, and also apart from that, in response in the wing of effectiveness of 1 billion um 1 billion lunar deposits due to the cryptocurrency recent price drop. The proposal suggests elevating the maximum deposit to 5 billion lunar when we're looking at the market and now you can see the move is actually expected to serve as a detergent against the spam proposal that has been included in the platform and thereabouts when looking at the market movement and all that. You can see this news that we actually had on the market. You can see it's a the initiative to combine spam proposal by increased maximum deposit about amounts to actually 5 million and thereabout. We currently have seen an increase in spam proposal going up since the price of since the price actually dropped 1 million, and it's no longer efficiency to combine this type of proposal. This is actually news that you can actually go and check on the market space and order. You can see at the time of written, the Tara Classic community has showed overwhelming support for this proposal, with more than 90% vote casted in favor of the change. With such resounding support, it appears highly likely that the proposal will be passed, and the voting period will be set to conclude at September 16, and Tara Classic community early await the final verdict in the market space and order. So now, so the actual the period, the final vote is actually going to come up on September 16, which is actually a good time to actually go into the market to actually invest. And also, why Tara classes try to secure its ecosystem against spam. It's worth noting that one of the project's most promising indicator for the future lies in the steadfast support that from the world's largest cryptocurrency platform. Now, this support is not a recent development, but serve as a testament for Tara US for Tara Classic continual evolution and efforts to remain a forerunner of innovation in the blockchain space. And that we're looking at the ecosystem, and also all these points are actually very, very important that we need to actually take note of when looking at the market space, what the market is saying, what are the different factors we need to consider when looking at all these actually news surrounding the market that we need to actually take note of when looking at what the market is saying, what are the news surrounding the market, how can we actually take control of the market. All those points here are actually very, very important that we need to actually take note of when looking at the market movements and other. You can see now in January, you can see the market declared that unwavering support for Terra Classic updates, knowing the proposal known as they actually had a proposal. Now, this government proposal was actually backed, addressed crucial factor of also the Terra Classic evolution, and also notable it introduced measure to prevent a new minting from a portion of the bond from the bond token by resetting the reward policy and thereabout in the market and all that. You can see all the news surrounding the market, what is actually happening in the market and all that. And all that you can see it's actually currently at 0 point, I think just around what is the okay, yeah, 0.000572 thereabout. And also with actually it has actually gotten 3.6 decline in the market and all that. Now the Terra US the Terra Classic remain resolute on its mission to create a more secure and effective blockchain when looking at the ecosystem, what they're actually doing, and and also this latest development is sure to further solidify its position in the cryptocurrency landscape and all that. So all this actually important information that we need to actually take note of when looking at the market movement and all that. Is very, very important that we take note of all this point. You can say okay, we can say this also. You can say what this means actually. You can say Bitcoin dip below 25,000. Ripple sub 5% daily market pool. You can say adoption Bitcoin adoption addresses saw second highest increase in third increase highest rise in history this weekend. Increase this year. We're looking at the market space, and also all these actually news that we need to take note of when looking at the market. We can also have, you can see the this Bitcoin here has just wolves 500 transaction fees for a 0.00 0.0474 Bitcoin transfer in the market space, and this was actually deposited into the market space and also now, so all these are, you can see the news in which can actually come. We have different news that is actually currently going the markets and other in which you can actually come to the market to actually get more updates and all what is actually happening in the market. And you can see Facebook former head of crypto on Bitcoin role on global payments. Facebook former head of crypto on Bitcoin former and trying to give his own view about crypto about crypto from my payment system, and also all these actually news that we actually have on the market. You can see Dogecoin future in question. What is next after the price drop? After the price drop, this is actually about Dogecoin, and also Bitcoin is one of them. Is one thing might push price below 25 $25,000. One thing one this one thing can actually push the price. Is trying to give, okay, what might likely push the price below 25,000 in the market and order. You can say the first mover in America altcoin starts a week with a red with and during that was yesterday. The market actually started with a red move in the market. So all this actually potential, all this actually what the market is talking about, what we need to take note of when looking at the market's movement, and it's very, very important that we understand all these factors when looking at the market, what the market is saying, how can we actually go about, what are the different factors we need to consider, we need to take note of when looking at the market movements. And that is very, very important that we understand all these factors we're actually talking about are actually very, very important that we need to take note of, we need to consider when looking at the market movement, what is actually happening in the market, how can we actually take control of the market, and all these points here are actually very, very important that we need to consider, we need to take adequate note of when looking at the market himself. So you can see the Bitcoin, you can see what you can see this, you can see projects here, you can see what is actually happening in the markets here. You can see the area here in the market. You can see projects going down. You can see the what how the market has been moving, and all this actually important sign that gives us direction on what the market is saying, how we can actually what we should know about the market, how can we actually take control of the market. All these are actually important sign that we need to actually focus on, that we need to take note of when looking at the market movement, and that is very, very important that we understand all these factors here are actually very, very important that we need to understand, that we need to take note of when looking at the market movement, what is actually happening in the market, how can we actually take note of, how can we actually take control of it. And that is very, very important that we understand all these factors here that we are talking about when looking at the market itself. And that is very, very important that we understand all these factors here when looking at the market movement and what the market is saying, how do we need to take control of it. And that is very, very important that we understand all these factors here when looking at the market movement, and that is very, very important. So what other point is actually very, very important that we need to take note of when looking at the market movement, when looking at what the market is saying. And now let's get more news. You can see here, you can see the Bitcoin price here. You can see the Bitcoin price. You can see what's actually happening. This is actually the market cap. You can see the Bitcoin actually went currently. Yesterday was around 4 points. Sorry, yesterday was around 3 point something. Right now it has actually, because the market actually came up, and right now there is currently at 0 You can see Ether actually went down up to -2.2%. USDT, which is actually a stable coin, actually went down up to minus 0.1 in the market. So that is why it's very, very important that we understand. Let's come back to a day trade. Now looking at the market, looking at a day trade in the market, looking at the market in a looking at a day trade, you can see most projects is just three projects. You can see it's just this that actually went up. Let's check this out. Let's check this out. And it's just trust wallet token. Trust wallet token. That is that is the only project that actually went up to 9%. The trust wallet token. That is the only project that actually went up to 9% in the market. So it is very, very important. All these factors here are actually very, very important that we need to take note of. We can see the trust wallet token. This is actually trust wallet token, which actually went up to, which actually this was only the token that actually went up to around, it actually at 10% in the daytime frame. They're about 8% thereabout in the market space. And also it is very, very important, all these factors here are actually very, very important that we need to take note of when looking at the market movement, what is currently happening in the market, what we need to take note of it, and all that. So let's look at the news. What news do we have in the market currently? Let's look at the news that we currently have in the market currently. What is the news currently saying in the market? So for today, you can see the news for today. Let's check out the news that we have here for today. This is actually Coindex. This is actually Coindex. This is where you can actually come on Coindex to actually get latest news on the market, what the market is saying, and they can actually going to Coindex to actually get latest news on the market, and which is actually very good. As if you want to get latest update, latest news about what is actually happening in the market, you can actually come to Coindex to actually get latest news on what the market is saying and all that. So all these points here are actually so all these points are actually very important that we need to actually take note of when looking at the market movement, what the market is saying, and all that is very important that we take note of all these points. Very important that we take note of all those points when looking at the market itself, what the market is saying, how do we need to actually take control of the market, what are the various factors that we need to consider when looking at the market movement, and that is very important that we understand all these factors. It's very important that we understand all these factors when looking at the market, and all these factors here are actually very important that we need to take note of when looking at the market himself, and what the market is saying. How do we need to actually take control of the market? What are the various factors that we need to consider when looking at the market movement and all that? So let's get more views, let's get more analysis about what the market is saying. Let's get more news about what the market is saying. You can see this. You can see here what news do we have here. You can see here. You can see this angle here. You can see the Bitcoin short squeeze. You can see here the Bitcoin short squeeze leave the price back to 26. 26. You can see the Bitcoin here. We can see that is the first news we have. It actually moved the market back to 26 when looking at the market movement and other. You can see the market today. You can see the Bitcoin, you can see the Bitcoin market. You can see what we currently have in the Bitcoin market. You can see how the market actually moved. It actually moved up back to this area here, up to back to 26 in the market space, and it moved down to 25,100 yesterday, and the market moved back up to 26 stroke this morning thereabouts in the market. And also now there's a reason for that. That is why it's very important that we understand what the market is actually talking about. You understand the movement of the market, how the market is really moving, and like you can see. So all these are actually very important that we need to actually take note of. You can see Standard Chartered backed Dorian custody now available in Singapore. We also have here DOJ overreacting in trying to block some Bankman Fried proposal weakness, defense says, and other. We also have crypto exchange, crypto platform, and other. This is actually a crypto platform and other which we are not using, so let's not talk about it. We also have Sam Fredman, Bankman Fried DOJ proposal jury question ahead of October trial and all that. You can see it. You can see trading firm deposits million. Trading firms actually deposits million in Bitcoin, ETH, and also to platforms as crypto sell off intensify and all that. I also have here what other news do we have in the market. You can see here also you can see this news here, the return of Grivna ahead of the Senate testimony. We also have Luno to alter some UK client from investing in crypto as regulation moves in the market space and other. You can see all these are actually important news that we need to take note of when looking at the market. You can see the Bitcoin price dropped below 25,000 with altcoin brazen as deeper crash from the ETF crypto sales, and because they are trying to liquidate 3.4 billion cryptocurrency in the market space. That will actually going to cause a kind of a drop in price in the market and products. So all these are very important. You can see G20 crypto and ring is not signified when looking at the market. You can see the G20 can say what the G20 can say what on the crypto regulation front. It is not a threat to the economy, to the ecosystem. This is actually one news that actually came on board and trying to say, okay, the Bitcoin ETF is actually not a threat to the economy. When looking at the Bitcoin ETF, what the Bitcoin ETF is actually really about, it should be a kind of a global approval when looking at it, which I actually advise, which I actually look out for. In which it should be, I recommend that it should actually be a kind of a global approval when looking at it and all that. You can see AI is killing crypto venture capital share, capital and interest, and all that. AI is actually killing crypto venture and capital shares and all that. You can see these are more news that you can see, even though Victor Putin account was actually hacked, and also it was actually hacked, and also almost 68 619 k dollars was actually lost. So almost three quarter of the total asset were in form of NFT that was actually stolen thereabout and all that. Just imagine Vladimir Putin is account I was actually hacked and all that. Well, that is telling you that nobody is beyond this thing, nobody is beyond when it comes to hacking, and sometimes it will just take you. My LinkedIn account was actually hacked few months ago. I'm still trying to see if I could recover it, and probably I'll just open another one. So all this, so you can see, no matter how you can see you do your protection and other, there are some people, but if you are not careful enough, if you are careful enough, you can see you can actually divert that hacking of a thing and about. You never can tell what the market is, what they're actually doing and all that. So all this actually important news that we need to take note of when looking at the market movement, what the market is saying, what are the different factors, different news that we need to understand when looking at the market, and it's very, very important that we understand all these points. All these points I'm actually talking about are actually very, very important that we need to understand, that we need to take note of when looking at the market movement, when looking at, okay, this is how the market is moving, this is how we can actually take control of the market when looking at the market movement, and that is very, very important. All those points here are actually very, very important that we need to actually take note of when looking at what the market is saying. How can we actually take control of the market when looking at the movement of the market, and all those points here are actually very, very important, actually very, very important that we need to actually take note of. Now let's come back here. Let's look at the crypto telegraph news. What do we have for today? Hot story for today. What do we have for today? What do we have for today on Crypto Telegraph? You can see here, you can see the first news, you can see the weekend wrap, this thing, the back and the BlackRock deny Vivo buying and more, and all that. You can see Beta is building a kind of an open AI, an AI model to survive. Okay, let's look at this AI. Let's look at this AI news that we currently have in the market. So all these points, all these news are actually very, very important. When it's very, very important that we understand all this news, what is currently going in the market. It actually gives us direction on what the market is saying, what we need to take note of the market, what are the various factors we need to consider when looking at we're looking at the market space, and you can see the market, you can see dominancy that we actually have in the market, you can see what the market is doing, and you can see now, you can see Bitcoin, you can see Ether, you can see Ether is actually dominating the market when looking at it. You can see BNB, you can see ADA, you can see the market movement. So all these are actually all this actually very, very important that we need to take note of when looking at the market movement, what is actually happening in the market, and it's very, very important that we take note of all these factors. All these factors are actually very, very important that we need to take note of. You can see now the AI is actually building a kind of AI is trying the Meta is actually building an AI model to rival the open AI most powerful system, and is trying to build another system that is actually going to override the open AI and all that, which is AI. Open AI is actually one powerful tools that that a lot of people are currently using in the market space when looking at the market space. And so it is very, very, that is why it is very, very important that we understand all these markets, what the market is saying, what we need to take note of it, how can we actually go about the market. And they can say the Meta, a parent company of social media platform Facebook and also Instagram, said it's developing a new AI artificial intelligence model to that will rival the most that will rival the most advanced model from OpenAI, according to Wall Street Journal exclusive. The Wall Street Journal report that individuals similar to what Meta said aim for a new AI model to be served to be a several times more powerful than what is actually being released into the market and others. Now, for the moment, the Wall Street journalist source said the Meta plan is so for a new system that for a new system for the open source, and also and therefore allow other company to build AI to build AI to produce high level text analysis and other type of output when looking at the ecosystem. And also all this actually very important when looking at the market space, what they are trying to build, in which you can actually come to coin market cap to actually get more news. And so we can coin telegraph, coin dex to actually get more news about what the market is saying, what we need to know about the market, or the different factors we need to consider when looking at the market space. And all this actually very important that we need to take note of when looking at the market space. And so that is all what we'll actually be talking about in today's interesting section. I believe you guys have gained a lot from what I've actually shared with you guys in the course of today's session. But live again tomorrow for another interesting conversation where we'll come together tomorrow to learn more, to get more impact, to get more insight about the market space, what is currently going in the market, what are the different trends we need to take note of, how can we actually take control of the market, what are the various factors we need to consider when looking at the market, and all those points are what we'll be looking at subsequently as we keep moving ahead in the course of our session. So join me same time tomorrow for another interesting conversation where we'll come together and learn a lot about the market space and other. That is all what we'll be talking about for today's section. See you same time tomorrow for another interesting conversation. Bye guys, and enjoy the rest of your day. See you tomorrow for another interesting conversation. Stay blessed, guys.